Right, so just to reiterate again, if you look at the second menu of items, we always start from the left to the right. So geodesy again, most important, general settings. We've done a number of editors, image georeferencing, line editor, border editor, and boat shape and target. So those are the ones that we've briefly discussed. The next one of importance is your hardware configuration. This is the settings that's needed for the specific device you're going to use during the HYPACK survey. HYPACK can accept a number of different instrumentation types, and you will see the ones available in the list. For now, we're going to focus on HydroSurveyor, instrument supplied by Sontec. So the first step would be to add GPS. So in this case, if we look at the boat setup itself, we want to add, because there's going to be two components. One is going to be your echo sounder or acoustic Doppler instrument, and the second one is going to be the actual GPS, because HYPACK does associate all measurements with lat and long coordinates. So if we select in the menu, and this is where you will see a whole list of drivers that HYPACK supplies, and you can see there's a fairly long list of different instrumentation that they can ingest data from. So if we select or type GPS, there's a GPS NMEA driver, so we want to select that. And now you will see there's a number of fields populated or functions. There's two specific ones that we want to exclude from this, and that is depth, because obviously depth will be measured by the acoustic device and not by the GPS, and heading. Heading is determined from the HydroSurveyor internal magnetic compass, so we would rather use the data from the actual compass than from the GPS in this case. Survey Connect. HYPACK handles HydroSurveyor GPS a bit differently, because the GPS data that's collected by HydroSurveyor is passed into HydroSurveyor files, and that is transmitted to HYPACK. It's not transmitted separately to HYPACK itself. So in that case, we can't assign a serial connection to it, because it's not going to use a serial input. It's going to assign a network connection. And the reason for that is HYPACK created a virtual COM port for the GPS data for HydroSurveyor. And maybe just to reiterate that again, is that the GPS that's connected to HydroSurveyor, the data is transmitted to the PCM, either PCM1 or PCM2. The data is then sent from there to the actual instrument, to the HydroSurveyor itself, and then it's then transmitted from there back to the PCM to HYPACK. So HYPACK needs to separate the GPS data from the actual acoustic Doppler depth measurements. And for that, we're using a virtual COM port. So connection type would be network. The port itself is called 5656. And then you accept those settings. The next step would be offsets. Now this is the important part, is to determine where is your device located. And in our case, the starboard side is positive to the right, forward is positive forward and negative backwards, and vertical offset is positive downwards and measured from the waterline. Alright, so those three components are normally used to determine the location of the GPS. In our case, our GPS is mounted on top of the HydroSurveyor, so those will have exactly the same settings. So if we go back to the boat and we select vessel shape, we can now select the shape we created. In this case, we just call it Lake Miramar. You can give it a specific boat name, and that's our reference point. So everything we do, we're going to measure in relation to that. So in this case, anything to the right is positive, anything to the left is negative X. And you can see it here in these boxes. And this is a graphical representation. So if you're unsure of where you've assigned the instrumentation, then you can, by using this, you can identify if you made a mistake. So again, that's my reference point. My instrument is located approximately 5 feet from the reference point on the Y direction, so it's -5. So if we go to the offset there, the forward would be -5. Starboard is going to be 0, because in this case it's right in the center of the boat. Alright, so my instrument is located approximately there. This is my GPS. Now you can see that's the waterline. If I just enlarge this a little bit, that's the waterline. Obviously my GPS is not at that level, it's much higher. So if I go to my offsets again, so again vertical offset is positive downward and measured from the waterline. So my vertical offset in this case is -2 feet. So if I go back to the boat, vessel shape, and I just zoom out a bit. Now you can see my GPS is located about 5 feet from the bow, in the center line of the boat. It's also 2 feet above the waterline. Alright, so that covers the setup of my GPS itself. The next step would be to set up HydroSurveyor instrument itself. So the way I do it is I select another mobile. So if I select hardware, right click on it, add mobile, it will create another mobile. You can rename these mobiles any name you would what you prefer. So in this case I would just call it HydroSurveyor. Survey devices would be, if I type in SON for Sontec, there's Sontec M9 HydroSurveyor. If I add that, there's position, depth, heading, heave and record device messages. I also want to use this data set to update the matrix. This is the instrument that's going to supply the soundings to HYPACK, and the soundings will be populated into the matrix. If I go to Survey Connect, this will be a serial connection. The COM port I'm not going to define yet, because I'm not sure what COM port is going to be assigned to your either Sontec radio dongle or Pirani dongle. So at this stage I'm just leaving that out. Offsets, similar to what we've done with GPS. Because our GPS is located right above the HydroSurveyor in this case, I can use exactly the same offset. So starboard would be 0 because it's in the center line of the boat. Forward is -5 feet because it's -5 feet from the bow, and then vertically is not -2, important. So if we go to the Sontec HydroSurveyor, starboard, as I said, is 0, forward is the same, that's -5. Vertical is the offset is positive downward, so we're going to use approximately 1.25 feet positive. So if we go to HydroSurveyor and you go to vessel shape, now you will see 1 and 2 is on top of each other. So 1 is GPS, 2 is HydroSurveyor. 1 is 2 feet above the waterline, and HydroSurveyor is below the waterline. So that's a very good check to see, alright, the actual location of my GPS and HydroSurveyor, as well as the elevation. This is a very critical aspect of the survey setup. Any mistake that you make here could impact the depth measurements, but it can also impact the location of the measurements. So if your instruments are, for example, not aligned with each other and there's a different offset, that needs to be accurately determined. And that is basically the setup of the hardware itself.